is defined by a single action.
Clear the yard.
The family man Wade Porter is living the American dream with his girlfriend Laura and their son Michael. They have a nice house he has just raised alone to make his company grow, and they are going to get married. However, their dream becomes a nightmare when Wade unintentionally kills a burglar that had broken into their house in the middle of the night on his lawn. For attacking an unarmed intruder after he exited the house, he is arrested and charged with murder. Wade is put on trial and accepts a deal proposed by the prosecutor. At the urging of his public defender, he enters a plea of no contest in exchange for a reduced sentence of 3 years for involuntary manslaughter. During the bus ride to prison, Danny Sampson, leader of the local Aryan Brotherhood, stabs a man and hides the knife with young Aryan member Snowman, who is sitting behind Wade. In a moment's panic, Snowman hides the knife under Wade's seat and forces him to deny knowledge of it. As a result, Wade is sent to solitary confinement until the stabbing can be investigated. Lieutenant Jackson interrogates him about the stabbing, but he doesn't cooperate with the investigation. Jackson decides to send Wade to the Security Housing Unit, SHU, in Corcoran State Prison, where he is the commanding officer. Jackson overrides the advice of this top security person and puts Wade in with the common hardened criminals who are residents at his facility. Jackson refuses to show any leniency for Wade's crime-free past. In the middle of the gloom and the daily carefully monitored and humiliating existence, John Smith walks into the prison and is assigned as cellmate to Wade. John is sympathetic to Wade and takes him under his wings. John Smith is serving a life sentence after avenging the death of his family. Inmates here are under 23-hour lockdown and not permitted to have visitors for the first 3 months. Wade discovers the daily hour of yard time consists of inmate fights, on which the officers bet. Jackson watches the developing friendship between Wade and John. John saves Wade from the Nazi skinhead gang in prison when they turn on Wade when Wade refuses to fight the Hispanics as the Nazis' crony. The Nazi skinhead gang lead promises revenge to John. In addition to the prison violence, Wade's regular visits with Laura start to take their toll on their relationship. Jackson resorts to heavy violence to control the gang wars within prison. His officers James and Cormac are not supportive of this and want to do things by the book. But Jackson always manages to convince them to his point of view with an evil streak in his eyes. Jackson arranges cockfights between Wade and the Hispanics and bets on them with his colleagues. Wade refuses to fight. Jackson threatens Wade to implicate him in the murder of the inmate on the prison transport bus and extend his stay in the prison when Wade had only 4 months to go on his term. After Wade refuses to identify Sampson as the perpetrator of the murder on the bus, Jackson falsely testifies that he was an accessory to the murder, resulting in an additional 3 years being added to his existing sentence. After the second conviction, Wade's wife, who was under a lot of stress due to financial problems, leaves Wade. Broken and enraged, he resorts to fighting the prisoners in exchange for protection from Sampson and the Aryan Brotherhood. But later on, his wife comes back to Wade and wants to make up. Wade decides that what Jackson did was wrong and wants to expose him so that he can get his life back. Wade agrees to participate in Jackson's cockfights, but then simultaneously asks his wife to contact one of John's relatives who knows a high official in the DA's office. Upon hearing Wade's wife's allegations about prison cockfights, the DA agrees to visit the prison the same day Wade has alleged a cockfight will take place. In the fight, Wade defeats his opponent, but refuses to kill him. Jackson threatens Wade with his life, but the entire prison stands behind Wade and Jackson has to back down. Jackson clears the yard out, where the fights take place, except for John and Wade, and shuts the surveillance video. He enters the yard, has Wade and John covered with a sharpshooter, and attacks them with a carving knife. James, already angry, does not agree with this behavior and turns on the surveillance video. As Jackson attacks, John pulls out a knife from his spectacles and stabs Jackson in the neck, killing him. The sharpshooter takes John out. The DA reaches the prison just then and seizes the videotapes documenting the entire sequence and essentially clearing up Wade's name in the process. he is released after 15 months in prison and reunited with his family.